Welcome to the Gyrl podcast, the show where purpose meets inspiration. Each week, I sit down with incredible individuals who open up about their real life journeys, the wins, the setbacks, and the lessons in between. Whether you're navigating career moves, entrepreneurship, or personal growth, you're in the right place. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, your host, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's go up together. Well, happy Thursday, my friends. I hope you all are doing well. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. Hope life is treating you well. Before we dive in, a couple of things just to remember. You can always support Glow Up Gyrl and this podcast by checking out our Glow Up Gyrl merch at glowupgirl.com/shop. Also, if you are someone who's saying that this is my year, this is the year I'm going to do podcasts, this is the year I'm going to do more speaking engagements, this is just the year that I want to do that TED Talk, but you're not 100% sure of what that story looks like for you. Well, I can help you. If you're ready to really dig deeper into your own story, visit glowupgirl.com/story-labs. Story Labs is what I like to call a powerful space to uncover your own voice, your own narrative, and share your story with confidence. So we sit down together. Um, you do a pre-questionnaire. Um, and then we sit down, I listen, and then we essentially, I build out what that narrative might look for you. And even if you're not at a place where you're like, well, not really ready to do the podcast or speaking just yet, but I want to start by updating like my website, my about me or about page. I can definitely help you with that. So make sure you check it out. All right, let's talk about today's guest. All right, today I'm excited to be joined by Kirsten Graham. We're going to be talking about loving your profit and the money mindset, finding financial clarity, and how to scale with confidence with Kirsten. So Kirsten is a business strategist and outsourcing expert with a decade of experience helping entrepreneurs take control of their finances and scale with confidence. She has guided countless business owners through the process of hiring and working with bookkeeping virtual assistants, giving them the tools and systems that they need to understand their numbers and make smarter financial decisions. Her work through the Love Your Profit program focuses on simplifying bookkeeping, reducing financial stress, and helping business owners build the support teams that allow them to thrive. So, all about, working smarter, not harder, and making sure you find people who can help you to simplify things that just maybe aren't the things that you're like really good at or the things that you want to spend time on. So you find people who can help you so that you can focus on the things that matter in growing your business. Not that bookkeeping doesn't matter, because it totally does, but these are things that can help you to focus on the strategic side of growing your business. All right, so let's bring Kirsten into the conversation. All right, welcome back, and let's welcome Kirsten to the show. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to our chat today.
Yes, awesome. Well, I like to get the conversation started by having you tell everyone listening or watching who you are and what you do.
Okay, so a little background. My background's actually real estate. I sold real estate. I owned a mortgage company and a title company. And I mentored business owners for about a decade before I became a business coach. And that really evolved into me being a business coach who specializes in outsourcing. So I really believe that business owners deserve to have support in their business. And it's very affordable to outsource. And so that's my passion, is really helping business owners to outsource so that they can focus on what they do best and build really solid businesses.
Yes, I love that. And I'm really glad you're here to talk to us about that, because I think a lot of times with the women entrepreneurs, right? Like the relationship with money, um, it impacts the our businesses, and sometimes our sense of like purpose of what we're supposed to be doing, because we just are trying to figure out like the money thing kind of comes in and it just blows up everything. And I think like what you do by helping people to understand that it's like you have options. You can get help. You don't have to be like perfect and know how to do all these things. So why do you think that this is so hard for us to
Right.
to start with?
Yeah, well, when we started our business, we really focused on outsourcing around different marketing things because that's my business partner's background is,
Mhm.
podcast guesting and podcasting and YouTube videos and social media and building funnels. So the things we really helped to outsource for the past decade has been really geared around marketing. And last year, our bookkeeper retired, and we decided, well, let's go ahead and outsource it. And it was someone in the States, and she was lovely, but she retired. And so when we decided to outsource that, it really changed everything for us because it was a good reminder, even though we've been outsourcing for so long, it was a great reminder. One, we're saving about $3,600 a year by outsourcing it.
Mhm.
And then 2, our bookkeeping virtual assistant, in the first couple of meetings, she asked us questions that our bookkeeper we've been with forever never asked us. So, for
Mhm.
example, she said, "You guys have multiple streams of income coming in. Would you like me to divide those up for you so you could really track revenue from each offer?" And we're like, "Yes, absolutely. That's amazing, right?" And so we just kept having these conversations, and it really solidified what we've always known, but sometimes you forget your own you sometimes you forget your
Mhm.
own thing, is that when you have someone on your team, when you have someone who works directly for you, in this case, a bookkeeper, rather than working with another business owner, so to speak, it
Mhm.
really changes that dynamic, and so that was amazing for us. The other thing is, as a business coach and someone who obviously saw a lot of people's finances when I did mortgages, if you do not build a financially stable business, you're always gonna be in the hustle and the grind, and it never feels good. And I always like to tell people you can't manifest something you're totally afraid of. So if you're a business owner and you're sticking your head in your sand around your finances, then you're probably gonna stay stuck. And so by having a very affordable bookkeeper taking care of your bookkeeping and understanding like there's different choices for bookkeeping software. When you get into that mode of looking at your money each month and understanding where it's going and what's coming in, it's really, really empowering. It can be scary, but it's also very empowering once you take that first step.
So I feel you on that because I feel like you said, I think money always feels scary for people, right? And one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, what are like the signs where it feels like maybe a business owner has lost touch? Like you just mentioned, you had someone who asked questions that hadn't been asked before and said, let's let's take these different offers, these multiple streams, and let's show you how you're bringing in money. But what happens when people kind of lose touch? Like, what are the signs when you've lost touch of the profit and you just sounds like you just mentioned something, which is like the fear of it, right? But
Yes.
what are some other signs where people can realize that, hey, I'm losing kind of control of this financial like narrative?
Right. Well, first of all, there's a lot of fear and shame around money because there's also a lot of misunderstandings, right?
Mhm.
We always joke that as a business owner, you wear all the hats. You get to wear all the hats. The
Mhm.
reality is, when you start a business, you don't even know what some of those hats are, much less how to wear them, right? And so when you think about bookkeeping and understanding a profit and loss and a balance sheet and cash flow, unless you've majored in business or accounting, you may not have ever been taught that. So you always feel like, oh, everybody else knows that and I don't know that. And that's not necessarily the case. And I think business owners who do really well understand that I need to be the expert in what I do, but I need to hire experts to do the things that I'm not an expert in. So what we find is with clients who, and this is who I really thought our program was for initially. It was for people who were not doing their bookkeeping or were doing it very poorly or were often behind on it.
Mm.
When you are behind on your bookkeeping or you're not doing it at all, it eats away at your confidence. It causes imposter syndrome. And you literally do not have very important data, very important information to make decisions from. So you're often spending money where you shouldn't be spending it. We all almost always find that after our clients get their finances in order, they raise their prices because they understand how much they've been undercharging, or they tighten up their contracts because they realize I agreed to do XYZ, but then the client comes back and says, oh, well, could you do A? Could you do B? And they just keep saying yes, rather than
Mhm.
having a system to say, oh, I would love to do that. Let me get you a quote on A and B, and we can add that to your contract if you like.
Mhm.
So when you're not taking care of your money, you really have given away a lot of your power, and it eats away at your confidence. One of the things I wasn't expecting when we rolled this out was that we ended up attracting clients who were doing their bookkeeping and doing a fairly good job at it. Like they enjoyed it,
Mhm.
but they just realized it wasn't the best use of their time. So they
Mhm.
were like, I'm
Mhm.
ready to delegate this because, again, I can do it. I've done it for a long time, but it's not the best use of my time. And when I get behind on it, I feel bad about it. And it's always eating at me. And I would rather spend my energy being creative and focusing on growing the business. The other thing that I wasn't expecting were clients who had bookkeepers. Maybe they let them go recently or they were thinking about letting them go because it had started to get too expensive for them. So it was interesting to see some of those clients come over. And then also just I really wasn't expecting this, but we had a few clients who moved over because their bookkeeper just didn't get back with them. And they wanted to have a
Mhm.
different type of relationship with their bookkeeper. They wanted someone that was meeting with them once or twice a month, somebody who really was the expert and they weren't feeling intimidated to ask questions. And that's another thing I think a lot of us have been talked down to by a CPA. I've had
Mhm.
so many people say, my CPA just looks at me like I'm an idiot. I always feel like I'm asking the wrong questions or I'm being made to feel like I'm asking ridiculous questions. And so we really want to empower people when you have your bookkeeping in order and you have people that can support you and say, here are the questions to ask your CPA. And if they don't respond, push back, you get the answers. You deserve to know this information. And then the other thing is just so many business owners are leaving so much money on the table because they're missing write-offs.
Mm. That is why it helps to have somebody who is a subject matter expert.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Oh, and yeah. What do you say to people who, might say, obviously there are tools out there and I know you have some tools and we're going to talk about some things later. But when people are just maybe saying to themselves like, yeah, I don't know, but like, is it really affordable? Or like, what about people who don't want to relinquish the control, right? Because they feel like I know the things, I know my business well, but like you said, they may be missing like write offs and maybe missing money, but they're like just holding on to like wearing all the hats, so to speak.
Yeah. It's funny, this question comes up a lot, and I feel like this is probably a good lesson for all of us. Not everyone's meant to be your client. Not everyone's meant to be my client. I don't feel like my job, maybe I did years ago. I don't feel like my job is to convince someone to let go of things and to outsource. They're on their
Mhm.
own business journey, right? So if someone really feels like maybe they love doing bookkeeping and they're amazing at it, then they should continue to keep doing it if they have the time and they
Mhm.
feel like that's the most valuable thing for them to do with their time. So I feel like it's one of those things where we should never try to convince people to do something that they feel like they've totally got it, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
And and so that it's understanding who your client is. So, our client is really that person who says, "You know what? Bookkeeping's not my jam. I don't
Mhm.
have the time for it. I wanna have someone who is, QuickBooks certified, Zero certified, has a degree in accounting and financing. I want someone on
Mhm.
my team who is smarter than I am at this stuff
Mhm.
and who can go over my information with me every month and help me really lean into understanding what's happening in the financial part of my business so that I can be the CFO." And I think it goes down to this. I had someone ask me the other day, you always hear you need to work on your business, not in your business. What does that even mean? And I said, well,
Mhm.
working in your business is taking care of your bookkeeping, doing it yourself. Working on your business is going through your finances and looking at your profit and loss statement and looking at your cash flow and making some hard decisions. Maybe I need to raise my prices. That's working on your business. Another example would be, you have this fabulous podcast, right? Working
Mhm.
on your business is showing up on this podcast and creating content so people get to know you and want to work with you. Working on your business, maybe doing all the editing in the background, all the uploading, all the SEO, sending
Mhm.
out all the social media posts. that is a little bit more working in your business. So
Mhm.
it's understanding that we need to spend our time as much as possible working on our businesses and as little time as possible working in our businesses.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. So let's talk about people are making money, being profitable. So I think let's talk about like a lot of times, especially with women-owned businesses, like especially when we have businesses that are purposeful and we feel like we want to do good in the world. Why do so many entrepreneurs feel that guilt or discomfort around being profitable? Because sometimes, you have people who are like, no, I just want to do good for the world. But it's like, it's okay also for you to make money because that's why you started a business.
Right. Yeah. So if you started a business, because we all have to pay the bills, right? There's the
Mhm.
mortgage, there's
Mhm.
food, there's health insurance, all the things. So your business needs to be able, one, to support itself. And I think it's really good. The book Profit First, he talks a lot about based on where your revenue is, how much money should be salary, profit, how much should be expenses for the business. So it's really the
Mhm.
first time I think a lot of business owners thought about, well, wow, my operating cost to run my business should maybe be around 30% or 35%. And
Mhm.
my salary should be 50% of gross revenue, and I need to put money aside for taxes, and then there should still
Mhm.
be a profit margin. So understanding that every business needs to pay a salary and it
Mhm.
needs to have a profit margin so that you can live a life where you're not always under stress. If you're always worried about how you're going to pay your bills and how you put your kids through college or what are you going to do when you retire, you're not going to be able to show up as the best version of yourself. And so part of taking care of everyone else does involve taking care of ourselves. And that is about building a profitable business that allows us to take care of ourselves. And then we can take care of others in a better way.
Mhm. Yes, I love that. I think hearing that, right, and then in moving to this place of like where we've touched on a little bit earlier about people moving from like that hustle and wearing all the hats and doing all the things, especially to as it relates to financial health of their business. So you talk about moving from hustle to true financial health. What does that look like in practice?
Okay. So again, I think it goes back to one, having a trusted advisor, having a
Hmm.
professional bookkeeping virtual assistant, taking care of your finances. And in the beginning, you have to work with them because you have to figure out how you're going to categorize things. It actually really opens your eyes up to how much money you're spending in different categories. And sometimes you realize you're spending way more money than you thought in certain categories, and maybe the ROI isn't solid. So you need to change that. The other thing is being able to, again, make decisions from information. How do you price your services? And so many women underprice their services. How do you price your services? Often it's like, well, I think that's what people will pay me, or I think that's what they can afford, rather
Hmm.
than looking and saying, well, you know what? I have to have a license for my business. I need software for the business. I've
Hmm.
got all these marketing costs. So understanding that your business as an entity has expenses and then understanding that you as a human being also need to have a salary to cover your expenses. And it doesn't work if those things aren't in alignment. So I think it's very important for people to understand that everything revolves around the financial foundation of the business. Say you had a great offer. Let's say you had a great opportunity to do something. You had an opportunity to go speak on a stage that you knew where your ideal clients were, but you needed to pay for airfare and a hotel and all the things.
Mhm.
Maybe you can't do that because you wasted money on other things,
Mhm.
right? Or maybe you think, okay, well, if I do this, here's what it's going to cost me. And then I need to go into this knowing that I need to make a return on that investment. So it changes how you view things. And so if you're spending, let's say it costs $3,000 to go and speak at this event, ideally you need to make at least $3,000 back just to cover your costs.
Right.
But maybe
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
want to bring in 15,000 or 100,000, whatever that looks like, thinking about return on investment, not just on your time, but also on your money and vice versa, not
Mhm.
just on your money, but also on your time because time is your most valuable asset.
Mhm.
So I think
Mhm.
when you are really in your numbers and looking at your finances and understanding where your money's coming in from, what offers, where you're spending it, and making decisions as the CFO of your company, it changes everything from pricing to opportunities you say yes or no to bringing home a paycheck that supports your lifestyle, the lifestyle you want. Everything changes when you have a solid financial foundation.
Mhm. Yes, I love that. And thank you. Thank you for breaking it down so clearly because I think when you mention offers and you mention or pricing of services, right? So many times, like you say, especially with women, we'll underprice the services or the offer because we tend to think about, well, what can this person, what can this person afford? And I think, like you have to think about like something you said earlier, like everybody's not meant to be your client.
Exactly.
And you have to, and I admit because I'm a person who, before I went full time into like entrepreneur, when I was in corporate and like kind of doing this on the side, my work, businesses on the side, and I would see offers from people and they'd be like, oh yeah, it's this amount of money for, this program. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of money for like a 8-week program. But as I, started to drift away from like corporate and started to work on my own businesses. And I was like, oh, I totally understand it. Like all the time and effort that you put in, like, why are you going to downplay what you actually bring to the table? And also, too, I mean, I think a lot of times people maybe want to be entrepreneurs because we want to have a better balance in our lives so we can have more time with our families and to do things that we want to do. So, yes, having a nice offer and maybe you only need 5 people, to sign up for that offer, versus people who put their services so low that you've gotta have, like, 12 or 15 clients, and then you're, like, overwhelmed because you're doing so many different things for different people, and I'm only speaking as someone who's done this, so everybody I'm not out there I'm talking about me because I recently was looking one of my businesses is, like, marketing consulting, and I was when I first, put my site out, I was like, "Oh, like I can do this, I can do that, I can do these things, and then I can price them reasonably so that people, can sign on and they can do it monthly. But, here at the end of the last year, I started to think, I was like, no, actually, I need to replace that. And I'm currently working through, well, I have 3 key offers, right? That I will, and they are higher priced. But at the same time, it's like, well, I'll get the clients who are meant for me.
Yes, yes. And it's interesting because I think when you think about pricing an offer, it really is about the transformation. So what
Hmm.
can you do for that person and is it of true value? That's the way everything gets marketed and whether it's a corporation or a solopreneur. Does that whatever you're selling bring the value, the
Right.
transformation that that person wants?
Hmm.
And so pricing doesn't have to always be a huge ticket item. It can be, but just making sure even if you're doing a lower ticket item or you're selling multiple items, that you're pricing them in a way that is very profitable for the business. So,
Right.
for example, our bookkeeping program, it's 16.97, which is a
Hmm.
very, very reasonable price because we teach you all about the different write-offs you can take. We talk to you about the different bookkeeping softwares and help you pick the one that's the best for you. So
Hmm.
we have open office hours every month if you have questions. And then we actually pair you with your bookkeeper and we teach you cultural differences and we give you all of the paperwork that you need to have a foreign contract worker. I mean, we do a lot, right? We give you a
Hmm.
great deal, but we can
Hmm.
also scale this because I don't sell this through a one-on-one sales call. We sell it through a free masterclass and we can do volume with this offer. In fact, our mission for 2026 is to help 1,000 business owners get their finances in order because I know that can change their lives. And that's my heart. On the flip side of that, I also love the fact that we're helping these incredible people halfway around the world. We're helping them get fabulous clients who pay
Hmm.
them on time and treat them well. So we are really creating all this good in the world, and that
Hmm.
is important to us. So again, if an offer is scalable, then you could have a more reasonable price, so to speak. But if it is something that takes up a lot of your time or energy, then maybe
Hmm.
it does need to be a higher ticket item. And we do have higher ticket items in some of our different programs. So, but pricing is something everyone struggles with. So everything
Hmm.
that you talked about happened to you has happened, I bet, to almost every single person out there, including definitely happened to us. And then also when you're offering services, the scope of work, people agree, you agree to one thing on a contract, And then they're like, "Oh, well, maybe I should do this." And it's really easy to say, "Yeah, we can do that," rather than saying,
Mhm.
"Okay, let me make clear I understand what you want, and then
Mhm.
let me go put together a proposal for that, and if it's what you wanna do, we'll add it to your contract."
Yes.
So, when you're confident with your money and you understand that, then you're more confident with how you interact with people, which is always good because if you undercharge, what happens? You eventually start to resent your clients
Mm.
because you feel like you're working all the time, you're working for free, you're struggling. That's not a
Mhm.
place we want anyone to be.
Mhm.
On the flip side of that, if you're charging a lot of money, but then because you're busy doing everything on the back end of your business, you're not fully present and you can't deliver for your client, they're going to resent you and not want to refer you and maybe even, leave negative reviews for you. So that's
Mhm.
why it's so important we figure out how to balance our time and our money to achieve the
Mhm.
things that we want to achieve. And I love the fact that money is just an exchange of energy, right?
Mhm.
I you
Mhm.
you you provide a fabulous service for me. I'm happy it helps me. I give you money. It's a great exchange of energy. You go to
Mhm.
a restaurant, you have a fantastic meal, the server's awesome, you have no problems paying for that fantastic meal, and you tip that waiter above and beyond what is
Mhm.
required because you really appreciated the service and what they did for your evening. So it's
Mhm.
just an exchange of energy.
Yes. Yes. Okay. What simple financial habits or frameworks can women implement today to feel more empowered and confident about their business finances?
Okay. So first of all, if you spent the time to set up an LLC or to incorporate your business, that gives you legal protection. It means that someone can't come after you for your home or your personal retirement accounts, things like that. They can't come after your assets. But if you're commingling your money in your business and your personal life and someone sues you, they may be able to come after your personal assets because you have not followed the rules of an
Mm.
LLC or
Mhm.
incorporation. There are rules that go with that, and not commingling your money is one of those. So if you're doing that, that's my first hope for you is that you'll make sure you separate it. If your business is new and it's not supporting itself, then you, the business owner, write a loan and you loan the business money from your personal account to your business account. You put a contract together, you put it on the books as a loan from the owner. So you're separating things. If you are a business owner, the business is doing well, you don't just pay for your rent or your mortgage out of your business account. You pay yourself a paycheck, you put money from
Mhm.
business to personal, and then you pay your personal bills. So that would be my number one thing. That's most
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
And then from there, just deciding, be honest with yourself. If you're going to do your bookkeeping, set up a system, decide what bookkeeping software are you going to use? Are you going to use QuickBooks or Zoho or Zero or FreshBooks? What software are you going to use? Pick a software and then commit to it. Set up a time every week, say Friday, Finance Friday, and do your
Mhm.
bookkeeping. Okay? Just
Mhm.
you need to make that commitment. If you're not gonna do it, either because you hate doing it or because it's not the best use of your time, then hire someone to do it. So whether it's coming and checking out what we do or hiring someone locally, whatever that looks like for you, you deserve the support in your business.
Awesome. Those are great. Thank you. All right, let's talk about how people can work with you. So tell us about the Love Your Profit program and just how you support business owners.
Absolutely. So twice a month, we host a free masterclass, and you can check that out at lessmathmoremoney.com. Lessmathmoremoney.com. And that's where we go over how we work with our clients in Love Your Profit. And we do that so you get a feel for who Jeannie and I are because we want to make sure you trust us because obviously we're teaching you how to secure your finances and pairing you with an awesome bookkeeper. And then if you decide you want to work with us, we always make a great offer with a discount after that masterclass, and then you can sign up. You'll go through a small training portal with us, and then you fill out a form, and then we pair you with your bookkeeper. But we are going to give you everything you need to be successful, whether that's figuring out what software you need, understanding cultural differences and communication, how to keep everything safe and secure. So, we're going to give you all of those things to make sure that you feel very, very confident when you meet with your bookkeeper. And everything's confidential. I never know anything about anybody's finances. That your bookkeeper will sign a confidentiality agreement. We talk a lot about how important that is.
Mhm.
But, I will ask some questions on that form. Are you current on your bookkeeping? Do we need to go back to last year? I had someone at this last conference I was at, which was the Soulful Leadership Retreat. She reached over to me and she said, "I'm 4 years behind on my taxes." And I said, "It's
Mhm,
okay. Let
mhm,
we can take care of that, right?"
mm,
And the reason why it's important for me to know that when I pair my clients with their bookkeeping VA is because if I've got a bookkeeper who needs to go back 4 years and get a client
mhm,
straight, I'm not giving them any additional clients until that client's fully caught up. So it's
mhm.
about managing, the workflow of the team as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. All right. How can people connect to you online and on social?
Sure, absolutely. So our business website is sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com, and that's SIX figurebusinesscoaching.com. If you want to connect with me, it's Kirsten Graham on LinkedIn. That's where you'll find me more than any of the other socials, and always happy to chat.
Okay, awesome. We'll make sure we drop those links in the show notes. All right. Well, that was awesome. We are going to transition now to three things with Kirsten. I'm going to ask you three questions that just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. The first one is a two-parter. It's how do you start and end the day?
Oh my gosh, well, I've got the cutest puppy on the planet. She's right here. So it usually starts off with little puppy kisses and playing around in the morning, and it usually ends with that. So that's kind of my day. She does sleep in the bed with me.
That is I mean, the fact that she's there and she's not I had to close the door because my boy comes in and I would have been having to rub him. Oh my gosh, I love it. What's her name?
Her name is Kiva, and she is
Oh.
4 years old. She just turned 4.
Oh, she's so adorable. For those of you listening, you need to go over to YouTube so you can see Kiva. She's too cute.
Thank you.
I love it. All right. The second question is what's a current intention that you're focusing on?
Yeah, the mission of really helping our clients, get their finances in order. 1,000, is a lot, right? To get 1,000 people into this program and to really help them with their finances. But we know we can do that by partnerships. So we offer an
Mhm.
affiliate partnership for this program that we offer, and just making great connections and figuring out, if someone else serves our ideal client, could we partner with them and really help
Mhm.
their clients get their finances in order? And I do believe that connection and collaboration are the new, currency.
Mhm.
We need to be interactive. We need to depend on each other, work together to help make our clients successful and overall to make the world a better place.
Yes, amen to that. All right, and the last question is where are you currently finding inspiration?
Oh my gosh. I always find inspiration in nature. So I live in Sarasota. I love
Mhm.
going to the beach. That's kind of the place that calms me down, the water, the waves, the sand. And so I also find a lot of inspiration in just seeing the other wonderful things that other entrepreneurs are doing. I just got back from 2 different conferences, and it just warms my heart to see so many people doing so many amazing things, like
Mm.
things we didn't even know existed as jobs or careers,
Wow.
and how much they're helping people. And so whether that's running their nonprofits or running their businesses, just seeing the things that people are doing and showing up. And, if you're an entrepreneur, you're brave. You stepped out into the world where you're 100% responsible for yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that needs to be recognized and commended.
Yes, I agree. All right, Kirsten, thank you so much for your time and for all the great nuggets you have shared with the audience today. I am going to ask you one last question before I let you go. What are three things you'd like our audience to take away from today's conversation?
Well, first of all, that I'm grateful that you have me here today. So thank you so much for letting me talk to your audience. What I want you to take away from this is that you started a business and it needs to be profitable. That's the difference in a business or a hobby. And you deserve to be profitable. And having a successful business that runs on a solid financial ground is what's going to allow you to serve more people at a higher level. And it's what's going to allow you to stay in business for years to come. So just definitely understand that you deserve to make money in your business and you deserve to have support in your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And look, I know you're going to make that thousand. You're going to meet that number this year
You.
because what you're doing is awesome and you care about people. And that is like at the heart of it, of what you're trying to do. So I feel like I know you're going to win.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. All right. Welcome back, everyone. And let's thank Kirsten again for joining the show today. What a great conversation. I do know, like, a lot of times it is very hard for us to figure out, like, the money part, or sometimes we just don't want to talk about the money part of our businesses. So, definitely so glad she had such great nuggets that she shared with us today. So, make sure you check out the links in the show notes to learn more about Kirsten and her business, and check out the free masterclass. And also, there's going to be a link in the show notes as well if you would like to check out her services and learn more, and maybe even get signed up with them. All right. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, as always, you can visit glowupgirl.com and sign up for our newsletter to get tools, insights, and inspiration for your glow up journey. Also, make sure you subscribe. I mean, today we had a puppy on the screen, so make sure you sign up for our YouTube channel. We are at Glow Up Girl. Go there, subscribe, and wherever you're listening or watching, rate, review, share. It just helps more people to find the show. And if you're on social and sharing any of our posts, make sure you tag us in as well. All right. As I mentioned earlier, we talked about Story Lab. So again, it's that if you're ready to turn your personal story into purpose, check out Story Labs at glowupgirl.com/story-labs. Also, make sure you check out the Glow Up Girl merch. I know you're probably like, the merch that you're never wearing on. It's honestly, I only have t-shirts, and it's actually still cold. So I generally do not like to wear t-shirts. It's still winter when I'm recording this, and so hits the sweatshirt, and I do not have any sweatshirts, and that's just my bad. I didn't make sweatshirts when I was putting together the merch, so that's a fail, Kyra. That's a fail on your part. But we got plenty of t-shirts ready for the spring. I know you're getting the summer body ready, so go ahead, get you a Glow Up Girl t-shirt, my friends. All right, and if you are a brand or business who's looking to partner with a community that has a lot of women chasing big dreams, Glow Up Girl is accepting sponsorship, so reach out. Excuse me, at hello@glowupgirl.com, or check it out on our website as well. All right, my friends, thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me. As always, I really appreciate all the support. So I'll see y'all next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.